crafters, welcome back to my channel, Margaret Knob Designs. We are going to work on our project, our explosion box project, and we're going to be using some different paper, so we're going to try something out a little bit different. And you can see the tutorial or the walkthrough a couple of videos back. I'm a little bit longer getting to the tutorial than I would have liked, so let me show you what I've got started. So for today, if you have the explosion box explosion board, you can do all of this on the explosion box board, and it gives you all the measurements down the side. For this, what I use my board, but I'm going to give you the measurements that if you don't have this board, you can also work on making the scores by yourself on your scoreboards. So we are going to do the first 5 sizes, or the last 5 sizes on this chart, so small through double extra large. And what I did is I went ahead and I scored all my papers and cut all of them ready to go. So let me give you those measurements first. The smallest one, you need to cut a piece of cardstock at 8 by 8 and then score it on 2 5/8 on all sides. So you're just going to 2 5/8, 2 5/8, 2 5/8 all the way around till you make scores for a box. The next one is you're going to cut a piece of paper 9 by 9, and it's going to be a 3-inch score on all 4 sides. The third one, this sheet is 10 by 10, and it's scored at 3 3/8 on every side. The fourth one is 11 by 11, and you're going to score at 3 5/8 on all sides. And the last one is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and you're going to score at 4 inches on all sides. So I normally, when I'm making this box, I get started ahead of time by getting all my papers scored and out. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I am going to make the lids for each one of those boxes. So the chart tells us that for the small lid, this is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And the lip size for every one of them, oh, I thought it was 1 1/2, but it's actually really 1 1/8 is what the size is for the lid on all of these box tops. So it's 1 1/8 inches. That's where you're going to score on all 4 sides of the cardstock. And then this next one is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, scoring at 1 1/8 on all sides. The third one is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 and by 1 1/8 on all sides. And this one is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then scored at 1 1/8 on all sides. This one is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2, and that's scored by 1 1/8 on all sides. So I, in cutting out these box pieces, the bottom box pieces, I had to use really a sheet of cardstock for every one of these boxes. So you're going to have to plan on 5 sheets of cardstock for sure for the bottom boxes. For the top, because I did them, kind of matched them going up, I was able to cut them out of 2 pieces of cardstock, and so that would be 7 sheets of cardstock starting off. And then the only thing that you need is, going forward as far as cardstock goes, is that you can go to, you can put pockets or belly bands on different items in in the boxes if you'd like to do that. But you don't have to. So you're not going to need any more cardstock than what we have here. So basically 7 pieces of cardstock and you should be good to go. All right. So what we're going to do is at each one of these, I'm just going to go ahead and show you as far as doing the top of this box and show you what I'm going to do. One of the things that they show in order to make the lid on the box is to score on this line. What they want you to do is on this, you see there's a angled line, so you can score right in there to know where to cut. I am going to cut this lid how I normally cut my lids, and I think I like that method a little bit better, so that's what I'm going to do. The other thing that I wanted to tell you, this is the new Artisan Cardstock from Country Craft Creations. It is the Summer Linen Cardstock. I think it's called Summer Linen. It's just a beautiful color. And so I'm going to be using this with, I actually decided to use this bee paper for my explosion box this time. I wanted to show off this paper. This is an exclusive collection from Country Craft Creations that Tamara had helped design. The other thing about it is that it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet. It is double-sided, and the back of it is normally just a little bit more of a faded out design, but sometimes that's just what you want when you're making an album or something to give it a little bit of definition between the different cardstocks. So I'm sure you've seen videos on this cardstock, but we'll take a look at it more when we get to making the box. And what I'll do is I'm going to go through and do the first box size for each of these, and then I'm going to do the other ones off camera, and we'll get back to you then. So I'm going to go ahead and score this and get my box cover ready. And I'm going to do this a little bit different this time for the entire box, because my other one, like I said to you, came out a little bit tight fitting. So we'll talk about that as we get going. So I am going to be doing just normal explosion box flaps on the main sides of our box, and for the outside box here I am going to do the tabs like I did in the original box, because I would like that to be able to close. Whoops. I would like that to be able to close so that it's not looking inside the box. So I'm not cutting so straight here, but oh well. Nobody's really going to see them. Oh. Not going to kill me. Not going to look real clean if somebody's looking at them, but there we have got my 4 sides cut down. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and put this together as close as I can. Got a piece of this sticking off. I don't want it to stick up. And we'll get this box lid together. I always get on camera and then forget to have got my glue stick. Oh, good, thank you. So we're going to put our box lid together, and I am going to put the pattern paper on this box lid and the box after I have the majority of it put together. Sometimes for me it's easier, and sometimes I like to do it the other way. Kind of honestly a horse apiece. The other option that you have is, rather than making a side on your box that is, that opens up like that, you can also make that opening. They give you templates for making a heart on the side. Very, very cute. Looks wonderful with making Valentine's gift boxes, and just the perfect fit to that box. So another reason why you should look to get that box. Be awesome. All right, so then what we're going to do is, that's our lid. It's all set and ready to go, and we'll cover that with our pattern paper. Now let's do our bottom. It's not our bottom box, but it's the biggest one. And in doing the biggest one, I am going to, like I said, I'm going to take this and use the angled side to it. So I am going to come back in here, and I'm going to line everything up. And what I'm going to do is then score down here to this point where this all comes together, and score this at the same spot where this all comes together. And it's possible that if you're going to use designer paper and not use cardstock with designer paper, you might be able to do these angled edges or this angled side piece for all of the boxes. But because this cardstock is such a great weight, and it works just beautifully with, because of the Artisan Cardstock, I'm not going to do it this time, because I think it was just too much bulk, and that was part of the reason why it didn't work out as well, because I thought it's still fine. And the other thing about boxes is that they do stretch out a little bit as you go, or as you use them. So I'm not concerned about it. It's just that I want to make sure that for future ones that I know what'll make it a little bit easier up and down wise. So what we're going to do is, see, we've got that all scored and we've got it all folded. So the next thing that we want to do is, we have these angles on the side. And so what I usually do with that is I come in and I gently fold this in so that my sides are matching, and then I'm sorry, I'm probably out of camera. And then come up like this, and then I will lay it down on my mat and score that in place. And so I'm going to go around and do that to all of them till I make sure they're lined up. All right. This is just beautiful, as Artisan Cardstock. It's just my favorite. And this summer cardstock, I think it's called Summer Linen White. It is just really a beautiful, it's not cream, it's not white, but it's kind of like just this really soft cream yellow. Does that make sense? It's just beautiful. And I think it'll just match with a lot of different summer albums. Maybe not your bright ones that are going to be projects where it's out in the summer sun fun, but I think for any of the florals, you're going to find that this will work very well. So then if we look at this box, we can push these tabs inside like this and get our lid. And of course we've got to get pattern paper on here, and we can see that everything fits really well and that there's no peeking inside here. And we'll cover all of this over so that all the pencil marks will be gone. But I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to do the rest of the boxes. And you've seen how we did the lid. This is how easy it is. So I'm going to finish up those boxes. I'm going to get my paper cut, and we'll finish off this larger box when I come back. I'll do the insides of the boxes. So I'll see you in a little bit. Hey crafters, I wanted to hop back in here. There was one thing that I didn't talk about before closing out on this session. With this other sides, like I said, I'm not going to do the inside scoring like I did with the first box, and I did it on almost all the tabs. I'm actually going to take all these inside boxes and I'm going to cut away the middle, and I'll decide then if I'm going to, not the middle, the sides. So what I'm going to do is actually come along here, and I'm going to carefully cut down so that the score line is on the piece that I'm cutting away, and cut that down. And basically cutting all four corners out of this so that our box will close easily on top of each one, and that it won't be quite so much manipulation that I had done with my first box. I think I'm going to get my bigger scissors out to do this, to give me a little bit of a better line. So basically what you're going to do is cut out all four corners on every one of your next pages. So I just wanted to note that, because once you've got that done, then you can start measuring out your paper pieces for covering your box. And I'll see you back in a couple minutes. Thanks. Hi crafters. Well, I am back with finishing up on our other explosion box. This was the first one that I did with the Nature Lovers paper by Prima, and this is from Country Craft Creations. This is a design team project for them, and the paper is was bought or gotten in my design team package. And then this one is this bee paper is designed by Country Craft Creations and is exclusive to the store. And Tamara and her associates that have worked on it have this in the store now, and it's an 8.5 by 11 paper. You'll love it. I mean, the design of it is just absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to do is, in finishing this up, I did all the gluing and pasting for everything with the exception of one area on the box, so I can show you where that is. I just really did not want to have you just sit and watch me do all this gluing, because it does take quite a long time. So and then when I'm done doing that gluing, I'll come back and talk about the lid. So if I lift up this lid, this part of the box is a little bit tighter, only because of the fact that it has the extra flaps on the side. And if you'll notice, what I did with this box this time was I made sure that as this laid down or as this turned, the pictures all faced to the person that's sitting in front of it. So the other one, what I had done was I had put the top up here for when it closes, but really what I need to do is I need to do that on the outside for the top, so that the paper is the right direction. You can see going across here, it's all the right direction. I'm not saying I've never missed one of these and did it in the wrong direction. I might have, but this is the correct direction that it should be going in, up to the lid. And in the inside, it should be going in the direction of to the person facing it up here. This one over here is no longer, it's not going this way, but it is coming this way. So going across to me, in front of me, my papers are facing me. So this is the only section that I did the extra corners in. because I wanted to keep this a little bit more loose so that I would have the opportunity to put more pictures and different items in the box. But I made it very simple because I wanted the paper to really sing, and the photos that were in there the photos that will be put in there are going to be the most important part. So basically what I had done is on the outside of this box, this is the outside of the box, and you can see where I put the papers all along here. And these matting pieces for this outside of the box and the inside of this size, all these squares are 4x4. So the matting is cut 1/8 of an inch smaller than what the area is. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put this piece in here, but before I do that, let's not put it upside down. So we want to have the top of our jar going to the top of the paper, and then we'll put this one in as well. So I went around, I cut all the pieces, and then I went around and I distressed all of them with Vintage Photo by Tim Holtz. And I use the Distress ink and I use Distress Oxide, whatever is closest to me for the Vintage Photo. I've not really tried some of the other colors. I know other crafters do use other colors like Walnut Stain or something that might be a little bit lighter. So what I do is I just go in and lay my piece down, trying to match up my corners around here and trying to make it as even as possible. That's what I did. And then with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what is the best way for this to be put in here. So is it better to put it like this? Well, and I don't think it is necessarily, because, oh yeah, this will work. Excuse me, I'm wrong. Because then this, when it goes up, it's going to go up with the other pieces on this side. So let's get our glue for this. I always lay out my pieces and I cut them. So these pieces, I cut them the same width as I cut the individual pieces. And then all that I do is I put it on my paper cutter and I line up this corner to this corner and I just slice up on the piece of paper, making sure that I'm even on both sides. And that's how I make the cuts on all of these. It may not appear like it, but making an explosion box does take a good amount of paper. I would say one collection of papers is necessary. So that collection should have a minimum of 16 pieces with closer to 20, 24, just depending upon how you want to cut and how you want to put that together. So now we've got every single piece on our box. This folds up like this. I still need to work this bending out a little bit more. It's still a little bit stiff, but you can see that I can even pull it all up like this, and I could take and put my box in here if I had a hard time wrapping it around it. So that lid came off. I did not, for this explosion box, I did not put flowers and designs on top of the boxes. And the reason for that is because I just love the paper, that I wanted the paper really to come through. So let me just run through the boxes here real quick. And I might change my mind on that, but so this is our largest one, and then we go to our second one, and that pops down like that, and we've got our 4 pieces along this side. Now if you choose to, you can come across here and put a belly band on here. You can put a pocket down here, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. In some ways I'm thinking I might put like a 2x3 photo in here so that the bee is still on that page, you know, or putting two up and down. It just kind of depends upon the photos themselves that I find. So that's our second one. Our third one goes like this, and our little box has this really pretty floral arrangement with the wording behind it. And then we've got our pots and bees and flowers all in the next group. And then that was our next one. And this is our inside one. This one is a little bit loose, the lid on it, but that's because there's nothing in here. So once something goes in there, it'll fill up a little bit more. But you can see we have all the nice, all the beautiful florals and bees and everything on here. The other thing is that I did put a piece of the pattern paper down underneath all the boxes. I did talk to somebody else who's done explosion boxes, and they say that they do glue them together. And I'm going to play with it a little bit and see whether I really want to glue it together or not. But I do have them fully covered except for on the very bottom. If I don't glue it together, I'm going to put something down on the very bottom. So for now, what I did is I cut out 5 pieces there and then 4 pieces for the front, or the front of the box coming up. And then we have our small little box in here, and that's where we can put a small gift in here. We can put small photos. There's really a lot of different things that you can do. You can even take and put, which this section would really afford that, is putting some flap on here, even if you had wanted to do that before the paper went on, or if you want to do it with the paper already on, there is some ways that you can cover that up and not show the tab on the pieces of paper. So that's all of our boxes put together, and then they just fold up like this and go right over each other. I just think this is would be a fun little way to give a gift to a girlfriend or a friend. I mean, even like an expectant mother. And you know, there's no birds in here, but you could talk about it as the birds and the bees. I think would be a cute little story or theme for the gift that you're giving her. And then this one, this comes up and this folds in this direction, and this folds in this direction. This folds in this direction, but we always have that last one that is a little bit of a stinker that we kind of have to really push it a little bit. And that all folds up like that. And we put our lid on, and it fits just like that. So then what I did is I took out some flowers from my stash, and then as well as the greenery from that. And these are Prima flowers and Prima greenery. The other thing that I did is I fussy cut out a few of these bees, and I ended up putting them on pieces of wire so that they could stand up and add a little bit of interest to the cover of the box. And if you look from this way, you can see where maybe where I glued the wire to them. And then I also added some ribbon from my stash on the box as well. And the wire that I used is, you could use just a plain piece of wire, or you can use this wrapped wire. I use this wrapped wire a lot because of it. I just think it looks better on the mini album. But in order to do that circular, I take one of my smallest paint brushes, and I just hold my thumb on here and I just wrap it around so that I get a good twist on my wire. Not sure if you can see that. And what I did was then made, at the end of this, I made a little loop, and I put my glue onto the loop, and then I glued my bee onto that flat surface. And me and my little black round things, I then took, I had some of these extra little round pieces that I have had from making my little doodads. So I've taken one of these and I've put that onto the back of that so it looks better in behind there, and then put the glue on there. And once this is all stuck together, I add the bee onto there. Same thing on the bottom. If this is going to the bottom of the box, I stuck it onto the bottom of the box like this, and then I put my glue behind here so that this paper would help this stick better to the box. And the reason why I needed that was because this wire is wrapped with paper, and that paper does come off fairly easily, so I wanted to be sure I was really getting everything stuck down so that there's glue on the sides of this little round dot as well. So that's how I added my my fussy cut bees that are a little bit more dimensional. And I wanted to do this for the cover. I thought it would look really cute. And again, I may go back in and see if I want to put anything additionally onto it. But this is my 2 boxes that I used with my explosion box tool that my friend Jan Johnson had bought me for my birthday. And some of you, I'm sure, know her. And it's just so awesome of her to do that for me. I was so unexpected. But I have been so blessed to be able to get to use these wonderful collections by Country Craft Creations. And I have I have a design team haul coming up, and then I will have another project coming up very soon, not as long as this has been. So the next one I think I'm starting to work on it this week, and I'm hoping to have it done by this weekend so that I can get the video up for you. But I will get my design team haul up. Thank you for watching, and thank you so much for following and commenting. It just means the world to me. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.